Invigorating style, truth and patience, and throwing stockings at the target. A lot of what I would often mention about the ice cold JT and other um, subjective so-called people or aspects of life where they would actually make you feel good about doing what is necessary or right or even simple, versus what I would call the objective end of that, where people like I keep mentioning them, but formerly known as Gigi Bro and some of the other YouTubers, and so I will mention those in tandem over and over again for certain weird points. And there's array videos on YouTube about objective or subjective, and objective reality, objective truth, objective morals, and other things about the subjective. And one of my favorites has I've mentioned this before too, the hide and private unlisted video, objective or subjective. And he explains it pretty well in his own words. What I mean by invigorating style is more of a subjective leaning thing where even if you're not based in reality, you still make the most out of what you're doing and it makes you better for the haul. And I can get a little bit more into hopefully what I'm referring to being the manifestation path and journey, but we can shout for Richard Lop for that matter. Thank you. My so to an extent, Rich Lop has been a good um, approachable. Well, not I mean like he's been basically a very good mentor figure of mine. But like of course, many people in my own life, family and friends have been their own teachers, and as well as myself. But uh, because before Rich, it was like it was gonna be bass fuzz for a bit. Not gonna lie, Zarius was not gonna want to have to deal with me if I was gonna reach him out for that. But even reaching out to Rich Lop was a little weird because I don't think Rich was able to understand what I meant with my last consultation, but because not even Jordan Green knew what I was talking about, but it was like a, but it depends on how people can read your energy, and when they can read my energy, that's all I needed to see, anyways. It was better that way, anyways. But enough of that. But it's like a invigorating style is basically the approach where you feel good, and the discomfort is what fuels you. The discomfort outside your comfort zone is what fuels you, because the comfort will expand to that. The comfort zone expands the bubble around that anyways or something. You guys know how this works. So like the discomfort's what fuels you. The invigorating style then therein is when you're able to know that you're doing something that may not stick to the norm or be a part of the status quo, but what makes it invigorating is not necessarily subjective, as I keep calling it. It's not necessarily being someone who's standing out too much per se. It is choosing a path that makes sense in a way where for some reason it feels right, if for some reason it is right, and that's usually it comes down to a lot of gut feeling and intuition. But you can sense this for yourself if you try new things usually, and even do things that don't make sense at first, because not even things that the universe will do make sense logically all the time, because logic's not enough for everything. Logic will be enough for certain things, but not everything. And in some situations, logic won't even be possible. So or even be applicable, relevant. So that's invigorating style. I can get more into that later, but the next thing we have is truth and patience. I didn't have to like freaking spend a whole year and beyond affirming my I'm excited and happy I love my life thing all day, every day, all day, every day. Rain or shine, let's go. Because now I've gotten to the point where I don't have to worry about um, being unhappy, because now I've been affirmed that it's taken the airborne lift off of the thing a little bit over the past 6 to 8 months so far, or to 8 10 months. I've been doing this for like somewhat over half a year now, consistently with that in mind. It's like a because affirmations being programmed into your subconscious thing, not the pray to the sky daddy thing. Like I don't mean to diss Christians, but it's like I just um that's what it usually comes down to, is like you program your subconscious mind to believe, which what belief is the thought pattern that you tell yourself all the time until you already believe it automatically anyways. And that's why I'm going with the excited happy in my life thing. I told myself that both in my head and out loud over and over, and it started working wonders. It's just being in a positive vibration alone in a higher mental state is it's beautiful. Just try anything with these guys. Like anything that you really want, try to believe it. There's different ways this works, but the repetitive monotonous affirmations is what worked for me. But Even if I even had believed I was happy, apparently I didn't, because this feels even better. but but truth and patience, because when do you wonder if you did something like that for the longest time and it wasn't really worth it? Because the payload for this already worked for me. But let's take something else in consideration. I'm gonna make a weird example. In Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, Chapter 4, there are these birds that you can sneak under with Vivian's veil ability in the game. And so this GameCube game, Nintendo Paper Mario, you can use it a few times on the first few bird trees, and then they'll talk. You'll hear what the birds are saying. They'll be translated the animals. You hear what they're saying for the first few trees. You go to the other part of the map, and then you go to the last tree. It's the last tree that says something that's so true and deep that gets to you. It's like it's not even just random gossip or small talk. It's actually like deep truths that are resonating very deeply with who you are and your what you even believe in, even if it's different from what you believe in. And that's the kind of essence I can sense in a lot of real life. Is like a lot of life is like that. You'll find that maybe things are irrelevant or they don't make sense or they even have consequences, negatively speaking, for being done or not done. But then you have that one thing that you're blessed and lucky enough to have contained, and it tells you maybe a little too late what the truth behind something was. And you can cry, you can scream, but do not give up before, during, and after the fact. When you find that truth, will you be pissed off? Maybe. Will you be pissed that it took forever to find that truth and be like, well, if I knew this before, I would have not made this worse than it needed to be? Sure, maybe that was true. But because you didn't sabotage the path beforehand, because you had trust and faith and trust more primarily, you had trust in the mission and the journey itself without needing a reason. These are the people who deserve to be like this. In a good way, I mean, you deserve to be on that heroic path because you know that it would not have made too much of a difference if not sabotaged back completely if you had the good reason even then or truth, knowing that you would have still done it. But you attract it not more so than you deserve it. But that's another thing with manifestation is that you don't get what you deserve, you get what you attract. But sincerely speaking, it's people who are that much of a hero in their own hearts and in their inner world from the inside, who deserve to be on that path. Because if they didn't need a reason to do it, they didn't need the truth to do it, they were going to find out anyways. And now the truth feels like a bonus. So, are you truth and patience because you don't want to know the truth the whole time you're alive in this planet Earth, or are we just weird people? We just happen to find shit 10, 20 years in the future, and then it doesn't even resonate anymore, but it still helps us, or vice versa. It doesn't help us, but it's still completely relevant to us. Whatever. And finally, we have, I'll get to that if you later, but we have, instead of throwing dots in the dark, we have throwing Secret Santa Christmas presents at the target board. That's the opposite. I'm trying to refer to that analogy, that reference. Like, instead of throwing darts in the dark, it's the exact opposite. You're throwing like mysterious nothings, somethings at the specific target. Now, what happens when you do that? You don't know what happens even when you hit your target. You don't know what you're doing with your target. You know what you want, but how you're getting there and how you're doing it is unknown to you. And that is what makes sense to a lot of you guys now this time. Is that sometimes we know what we want, but our methods are unorthodox in themselves, which makes us look like we don't even know what we're doing in the first place, or how we're even pushing the goal in the first place. How do we know what our goal is if our methods don't even make sense in themselves? And that is where I'll leave off for you guys because I don't want to make this too long in the middle of the night, or even late, early night, whatever time zone you guys are at. But like, if you guys enjoy this video, feel like, comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff that I don't usually say on these videos, anyways. Not even a coincidence. And if you enjoyed the last 3-minute video I made after like a week and a half ago, I waited on purpose. I didn't want to make too many videos at the last second, even after switching locations for a little bit. I took a break on purpose. I was trying to make sure I was tempered with everything else. But now I feel refreshed. I have a bunch of video clips on this phone already that I didn't upload yet, but I might sift through them over time. As for the end card in like another 5 seconds later, it's gonna just be okay. Click on this video for if I add them. Click on this video for subscribe. New videos, but recommended for you, and the last one will be a playlist for my music philosophy and other documentary stuff. Okay, take care, guys. That's my three items. I can't even review them. Okay, right, okay.